Hello, I'm a school psychologist in the schools. This is actually my 10th year in Dearborn. Post-COVID, our schools are struggling. We're seeing high levels of staff turnover. Classrooms sit with long-term subs instead of certified teachers. Our staff are leaving for better compensation elsewhere. When times were bad, teachers suffered through pay cuts. Now times are great, so we should see increases. It is imperative that the district takes bold, necessary steps to retain staff. In a time when we are seeing record funding levels, other surrounding districts are increasing teacher compensation. It's time for Dearborn to do the same. Listen to your staff, pay your teachers, provide them with needed classroom support, and focus on physical and mental health to address burnout. While we appreciate your words of support, it's time to back those words with action. Thank you.
Next, Denise Tomlinson, teacher consultant, employee, would like to come to speak to the board about the importance of teachers.
Good evening. I wanted to read two excerpts from letters that were given to a sixth grade teacher at Stout. You are my favorite teacher. You make me happy and shine. Teachers don't just teach, they prepare us for the road ahead. You truly care about your students. I love the way you make me feel brave when I'm scared to answer. You are the best, and I love you. So we're not expecting love letters, but we would really appreciate a fair contract. It would be great to retain the exemplary staff that you have in Dearborn and also to recruit new staff to fill the open positions that we have. Thank you.
Next, Robin Macklid, a parent, would like to come to speak to the board about teacher contract negotiations.
Hi, so my name is Robin Macklid. I'm the PTA president at OL Smith. I'm also very active at Duval and Edsel Ford, where I also have children. And I spend like a lot of time at these schools. Sometimes people even think I work there. But I have a different job, but I probably am like a frustrated teacher at heart. And, I even like thought about it, but I just don't think that I could absorb the pay cut to become a teacher, which is pretty sad. And that's kind of like the reason why I'm here today. I see the heart and soul that these teachers put out every day at school. They are wonderful educators. They treat our kids with love, respect, and most importantly, a sense of humor, which is especially important at middle school. I have to say. They volunteer every time I ask. They give me their time and their money. And last month as a PTA, we honored our teachers. And we brought them bagels and flowers and snacks. And they were thanking me for these tokens. And frankly, I felt embarrassed because it's nothing. Like, these tokens are nothing compared to what they give my kids. I wish that we were really honoring teachers the way they deserve to be honored, with a salary that allows them to support their families, with working conditions that allow them to do their jobs safely and effectively. And I just learned that the top teacher salaries in the district just this year just rose back to the level that was in place in 2007 before pay cuts and freezes. And I think about how much inflation has risen since then and the hit that these teachers have had to take to their standard of living. And it like, frankly, makes me want to cry because these teachers are so good at what they do and they care so much, and they deserve to be treated better. And we have critical shortages at our schools right now, at our children's schools. I learned Edsel Ford has 6 vacancies in the math department alone. Salina, the middle school English department, is all subs. You multiply those vacancies across the district and we are losing trusted teachers, beloved teachers, the teachers that make our kids want to show up at school every day, that inspire them. This is going to impact an entire generation of our children. So I really urge the district to help us honor our teachers the way they deserve, with a living wage and the conditions that they are telling you that they need. Thank you very much.
Next, Susan Rocky, an employee, would like to come to speak to the board about teacher perspective.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us time to speak today. My name is Susan Rocky. I have been a teacher for 29 years. I am currently an RT at O.L. Smith Middle School and have worked for Dearborn Public Schools since 2006. I am standing here before you today because of a cliche related to the teaching profession. You don't go into teaching for the money. This cliche was recently used in reference to us teachers in what felt like a very negative manner. In my career as a teacher, I've had the privilege of teaching kindergarten, early elementary, middle school, and high school. I have been a general educator, a basic classroom teacher for students with autism, and a resource room teacher. Throughout these years of teaching, it is rare for me to have been asked why I joined this profession. Have you ever asked a teacher why they got into teaching? If you haven't, I encourage you to do so. My love for learning started when I was in second grade in Mrs. S's class. I was one of 25 to 30 students. I felt like I was the only student in that classroom. She inspired me to become the teacher who meets students where they are and to get them where they need to be. I have no doubt every teacher in here and in all of our schools has that unique why. However, at the bottom of it, at the base, we are here for our students. For us to be effective, we need help. We need time, we need equity, we need accountability, we need compensation, and we need our health to be considered. And yes, as a teacher, I have a right to say we need compensation. It does not make me less caring or less effective or compassionate for saying that. So when a cliche is tossed out in a negative manner, I find that disheartening. Is that statement meant to villainize us? Is it meant to make us feel guilty? I am proud of what we do, and I know why we do it. We are highly qualified, certified professionals in our fields, and we deserve what's best in order to be the best for our students and families. Above all, I would hope that you would remember respect is earned, honesty is appreciated, trust is gained, loyalty will be returned. Thank you.
Next, Kathy Martin would like to come to speak to the board about teachers. Kathy.
Good evening. Before I start what I had already written, I feel like I need to address something that was stated beforehand. Two things. Mr. Berry, you asked a question, have the teachers been made whole? The answer is some have, not all. And I actually did a quick informal poll with people who I know were hired during certain years, and the response is no, just in this room. Not all teachers have been made whole. Secondly, someone mentioned the vacancies. The subs covering those vacancies are accounted for in the sub total payment. So that means you don't have a certified teacher in that classroom. The certified teacher is not receiving that salary. That money is instead going to a sub. So you have to watch how money, just numbers, you can do what you want with them. So now I'm going to go to what I was originally going to talk about. Dearborn teachers have been clear in what they wish to achieve with this contract. After almost 2 decades of concessions, we're expecting a contract that makes Dearborn the go-to district for educators and families. A community is only as good as the schools, and without happy, qualified educators, you can't have successful schools. It's time to invest in what truly matters, and that's the people who are face-to-face with students every day. Our contract campaign slogan is, "Let us teach," T-E-A-C-H. T, time. Teaching is an art. Time is required to hone a craft. Time will allow educators to create meaningful lessons and the opportunity to tailor plans for the variety of learners we have to engage daily. E, equity. Equity across the district with regards to courses and activities offered to all students. A, accountability from all stakeholders. Policies and codes of conduct should be applied fairly and across the board. C, compensation. Devoting our lives to the future of our world should not mean taking a vow of poverty. The people responsible for our country's future should be able to live comfortably on their salary. Our career requires, at a bare minimum, a bachelor's degree, and due to continuing education requirements, many of us have had to earn our master's degrees along with various other certifications. We are highly educated professionals and should be compensated like professionals with similar levels of education. We also need H, take care of our health. The state of education in this country has had a negative impact on the mental health of most educators. There are legislators suggesting that we arm teachers, which is a ridiculous burden. We need to take the state of our country into consideration when addressing recruitment and retention. How are we going to be the best district in the state when great educators are not being retained? Thank you.
Next, Jawan Nabha would like to come to speak to the board about teachers.
Good evening, everyone. Before I start, I'm kind of like Kathy, before I start with what I wanted to write, I have something to say. Society should be ashamed that we have, like me as a client, I guess, of teachers begging on behalf of teachers to treat them the way they need to be treated. Society should be very ashamed. Teachers deserve way more than what we give them. They deserve more than the basketball players. They deserve more than the CEOs. They're the reasons why you're here. So that's just what I wanted to say before I got into it. It's been quite the year. We've seen many faces have stood up at this podium screaming and shouting and demanding answers to different questions. And I've continued to watch every single meeting, and many times I agree with the anger, and many times I stand by this district. To me, it's absolutely okay to criticize something you love because you want to see it do better. And we're asking for you guys to do better by our teachers. That's why I'm here today. Our district is beautiful and it's great. And because of every single person that comes day in and day out to make it what it is. We are great and always put our students first. However, we're also a work in progress. We screw up and we screw up royally sometimes. And this doesn't mean this doesn't mean we just continue to settle for the bare minimum. Again, please treat these teachers correctly. There's plenty of things I could talk about, but I have come to talk about the teachers. If there's anything I've learned is that teachers are the backbone of our district. Putting aside student dedication and efficacy, teachers are why we have successful schools. Teachers are why all of you are on this board today in a position of power. And if we want to continue to see these results, continue to enjoy our district winning awards and sending our kids to the best of the best universities, it's up to this district to work hand in hand with teachers to make it happen. Retain your teachers, not just try to bring in new teachers. I promise you those numbers in the College of Educations at the universities are declining, and you guys want to sit here and pretend like they're not. Okay, I just graduated from one of the best colleges for teachers, and I promise you at graduation, there was only 70 of us when we graduated. Okay, and that's a major college. I want to walk into every single classroom next year and see certified teachers in every single room teaching our kids. I want to see happy, smiling teachers. I want to know that every single teacher in this district is not tied up with frivolous paperwork and red tape, and that we give them back their autonomy to do what they just said they want to do. Teach. They want to teach. They don't want to spend half their day, in whatever it is they're doing now. So that's my time.
Thank you.
Dara Egerton, an employee, would like to come to speak to the board about teacher perspective.
Good evening, trustees, Dr. Maleko.
My name is Dara Edgerton, and I am a proud teacher of Dearborn Public Schools, having taught for 29 years, 21 of which have been here in Dearborn. I come before you tonight to ask not only for a fair contract, but also dialogue that preserves the integrity of respectful negotiations and genuinely reflects the district's willingness to compromise. Teachers are selfless, dedicated, and compassionate professionals. I witness this in the halls and classrooms of Smith Middle School countless times a day. We are the front lines. We are putting students first on a daily basis, meeting their academic needs, social, emotional needs, being mentors, or just giving them a much-needed hug. Our altruistic nature is our superpower. It is not a weakness to be exploited when words like teachers didn't go into education for the money are recklessly spoken. Teachers are demoralized and trust is broken. Make no mistake, your Dearborn teachers are a tremendous asset to this district, many of whom have given back to the district over the years with pay cuts and freezes, with contracts reducing the number of sick days, increasing insurance costs, and a top step that just last year returned to what it was in 2007. These concessions were made with the hope that one day when the district's financial situation improved, we might again see some gains. Currently, the district has a healthy fund balance, and the governor just passed the highest per pupil investment ever. So now is that time. We ask for a contract that values our time, is equitable for all, provides accountability, offers compensation that will attract and retain the best teachers for the students of Dearborn, and provides for the health and safety of our students and staff. Thank you.
Miriam Amin would like to come to speak to the board about teacher support.
I just want to say, please excuse me, I'm feeling anxious tonight, so if I talk really fast, I apologize in advance. So my name is Miriam Amin. I'm a graduate of Dearborn High and DCMST from the class of 2019. I've been in the district for the grand majority of my life, besides a couple of years during elementary school in a different district. And I'm here not to specifically talk about what I've witnessed with teachers and what they've said to me about administrators and the way they've been treated by the administrators of this district. I'm going to quote one of my former teachers who is now a very near and dear friend to me, who retired because of the bullying that she faced as an English teacher at Dearborn High. And it's very upsetting and heartbreaking to come up here and talk about the direct quotes and comments that she provided me with. But it's something that needs to be done because it's just another example of why you guys have so many teachers that are leaving and so many unqualified substitutes covering for those teachers. So this teacher says, I've taught for a total of 35 years, 30 of which were with the Dearborn Public Schools District. These are two direct quotes that she was told the last year before she left, when she was still deciding whether or not she wanted to retire. She had put her foot forward and aimed towards retiring, but she still felt like maybe I could stay for another year. And then these quotes were said to her by the literacy coordinator at Dearborn High. And at that time, I don't know if she's still there, but this is what that teacher had said to her, and this is what pushed her out of the door. It was her last straw, but there were many incidents that made her struggle as a teacher during her entire time in this district, and she's not the only one. She was told, the brightest students don't need the best teachers. And then adding on to that, she was also told students do not need to read the whole text to get the gist. Now, this first part about the brightest students don't need the best teachers was said in regards to honors and AP teachers being moved from those classes to classes that have students who struggle more. And it's basically a part of the anti-intellectual movement that she quoted within the administrations in Dearborn Public Schools. And I have a lot more to say, so I'm going to end up sending you guys an email. But this type of thing is the reason why she left. And it's just another example of how you guys devalue your teachers and why none of them want to stay in here and why many of them are retiring who are amazing veteran teachers. I can't tell you the reason why I'm successful is because of my teachers. And so many of them have retired, not because they wanted to, but because they couldn't take it anymore. So please, try.
Next, Nofila Hyder would like to come to speak to the board about teachers.
She stepped out.
Next, Brandy Ahmed, parent and a community member, would like to come to speak to the board about teacher and board concerns.
Good evening. For the purpose of time, I'm going to read my statement first, the majority of my statement. Good evening, board members and Dr. Maleko. My name is Brandy Ahmed. I'm a parent of 4 within the Dearborn district. I'd like to start off by saying that I watch every board meeting virtually. Being a parent of 4, I'm always on the go, so it's nearly impossible for me to be here. But I really do try to stay informed. The last few meetings, I can say that there has been an obvious and unsettled disconnect within the board, and it is very hard as a parent to understand what is being said or what the heart of the conversation is. Mr. Berry, you've had my attention these last meetings. I'm listening, I'm hearing what you're saying, but it is hard for me to follow what is being said. And then seeing the disconnect between the board members has been unsettling for me because as a parent, it's already hard for me to try to remain informed as a taxpayer, as a parent, as all this stuff. Everything was either too vague and jumped from one concern to the other. Dr. Maleko, I felt disappointed by your defensiveness over your record. I think it's a great thing to be proud of a record, but I also think it's a great thing to have humility and to understand that there's always room for progress and there's always room for improvement. We are a society of progress. That's what history has taught us. Essentially, you as board members and as elected officials were voted in to be a bridge between the taxpayers and the administration, a bridge between the parents and the administration, and a bridge between the teachers union and the administration, and et cetera. I ask that you maintain the structure of that bridge as we, as a community of voters, we voted you in, and I ask that you uphold what we voted you in for. Secondly, teachers, they are the backbone of the public education. Without them, we don't have public education. We don't have equal and equitable education. Our governor made it clear in her State of the State and has continually advocated for public education, and that is a top priority for funding. I think it's important for you to keep that in mind as you work through your negotiation with teachers, and essentially as you're negotiating how valuable they are to the district and to our kids. Again, I refer back to that bridge. It is your job to make sure there is equitable balance and function between our teachers and our administration. Without our teachers, we have nothing. Our kids have nothing, and essentially we all fail. Records or not, perfect records or not, that's the way it would go. I will continue to watch these proceedings and advocate for that balance, and I look forward to seeing that improvement. Essentially, as a parent, I don't want to take my kids out of the district. I really enjoy being in the Dearborn district. I love our diversity, I love our community, but the health of my children's education and the health of the system in which they receive that education is a top priority for me. And if it comes down to it, I will pull my kids out. And I really hope I don't have to make that decision. I thank you for listening and listening to all of us. And I hope that you take all of our considerations and comments into perspective. Thank you.
Next, James McClellan, an employee, would like to come to speak to the board about positive news from the music department.
Hello, I'm James McLennan. I'm a first-year teacher, and I teach 5th grade band and orchestra at 10 of our elementary schools, which is a pretty big job, but I've had a lot of fun thus far. So I've come to share a message from the music department, basically to talk about what we've been up to this year and our big push right now for recruitment at the middle school level. My colleagues and I organized a very big project to bring our fifth graders over to the high schools for a series of recruitment concerts, and the response we got back was overwhelmingly positive. So what we're really just hoping to make sure is that our administrators at the middle school are continuing to work with us in supporting us and getting our students who are very eager to continue participation signed up for band and orchestra when they make that move into sixth grade. And that across the district at our different schools, we are able to make equitable course offerings and allotments of FTE. I would also, since I have a little bit of time, just like to make sure that I echo the sentiments of my colleagues and ask that we are able to get a fair contract that treats us with the dignity our profession deserves and encourages us to do the best job we can do. Thank you.
Next, Rolla Mackey, a community member, would like to come to speak to the board about student success. Okay. Next, Stephanie Butler, a parent, would like to come to speak to the board about students. Next, Crystal Paulson would like to come to speak to the board about Kaleidoscope.
Good evening. So I do have a question about the Kaleidoscope, because also it's recruitment and it's an ABA center stated outside of Michigan in several different states, but not Michigan. So there is a couple of people that have toured Bright Behavioral. Why are we looking at an outside company outside of the state and not looking inside our community when we have people in our community that is properly qualified and certified and licensed to train the staff for ASD training? That's one of my questions. And I got to learn to work the registry for the certification. There is a staff member at Nowlin who is in the third, fourth split, and she is a permanent sub. That's the only certification she has. She doesn't have no ASD training, anything, but she's around the ASD students, specifically nonverbal. The stuff that I found investigating her is alarming. The marks, the bite marks, the scratches, the everything. What are we going to do about this? What are we going to do to train the teachers properly? Because that is the special needs department's job. And I've given everything June 17th to be exact of last year. I've been working on this for a year. Nobody knows this, but I have. What is the solution? Because our autism kids, they deserve a solution. Now, next year, the year after that, so we don't have any more incidents. It's not fair to the teachers. It's not fair to the children, specifically when they can't explain what is going on. My other question is, if we do have qualified staff, why aren't the permanent subs that are hired vetted properly on social media? Because some of the stuff that I read about harming the children was very upsetting. Punching parents in their face. This is where we need to come together as parents, leaders, community leaders, teachers. All of us need to support the ASD students. And we need to give the proper help, support, because these children deserve it. And I would like a demographic sooner or later, please. Thank you.
Next, Next, Stephanie Butler, a parent, would like to come to speak to the board about students.
Hello. So tonight I wanted to talk about something maybe on the other side of the aisle for me. And that is the fact that we need to stop bullying our teachers, this administration, bullying our teachers, pushing them out so we can get the lower paid ones to come in. And like Crystal was saying, these people are not qualified. These people are nut jobs. They are young. They say very disgusting, vulgar things on social media. In the meanwhile, we have professional people that have been here for years and years getting bullied by the administration. And I think we need a whistleblowers policy put into place by this board to protect those teachers that do come forward, because you know what happens to those teachers? They either get moved out of the building to another building or they're forced to resign. Meanwhile, people who commit sexual assault on children are hand walked out the door so that that other person can keep their title and their position and their, going up the chain. How is that fair? That's not fair at all to the teachers that have been here and have been working. And you're going to bring in these 18-year-old kids who are not certified to teach. Listen, pay them. We don't need an administration that has administrator, that's why we don't have money. So I want to say to the teachers, if there's something you need for your classrooms or something I can help you with, if you need to whistleblow, trust me, I got you. And you don't have to go to the school and beg or spend money out of your own pocket. The community will come together and rally for the right causes. And I just think that we should take a look at the board seriously about why we keep talking about the exit surveys. Nobody figures it out. We just keep watching more and more and more and more leave. They're underpaid, they're overwhelmed, they don't have what they need. Meanwhile, this administration is sitting pretty. So we need to get our priorities straight here, because I don't want to see a district full of subs. I want to see qualified teachers in this district getting the time, the respect, and the pay that they deserve. Thank you.
Next, Talal Turfi, a community member, would like to come to speak to the board about Coach Baydoun.
Just a reminder, let's not mention employee names, please.
Good evening. Coach Ibrahim Baydoun is both a counselor and basketball coach at Edsel Ford High School. The function of counseling is easy to parallel with good coaching, as there are dual responsibilities as a counselor and as a coach. Coach Baydoun was fired as a high school basketball coach, not as a high school counselor, when in fact the duties and responsibilities of both a counselor and coach are similar for the following reasons. Teach and model good citizenship and sportsmanship for both students and athletes. Provide mentorship as a counselor and as a coach. Importance of discipline and hard work for both students and athletes. How to deal with adversity as well as building leadership, teamwork, and character. For example, by building character, Counselor Baydoun and or Coach Baydoun help academic students and basketball players realize their potential, inspiring positive self-esteem, self-confidence, and emotional control. While Counselor Baydoun or Coach Baydoun develop academic students and athletes to achieve their best, it is important to note that as a counselor and or coach, they are also part of the wider school community. Coaching is not always about winning. Rather, it is about growing as a team. It's not even about putting the ball in the basket or teaching fundamentals. More importantly, it's to teach players about life, teach them how to be good friends and teammates, and how to live with integrity and confidence. And that is what Coach Baydoun has done. Winning is not about numbers. Winning is about building strong character, and that is exactly what Coach Baydoun has done. Whether as a high school counselor or high school basketball coach, the first principle of handling athletes is to know each one personally and completely. The second important principle is for the coach to stimulate the athletes, just like the counselor stimulates the academic students to take initiative in accepting responsibility and choosing a course of action. Coach Baydoun could easily have a winning basketball team if he would recruit players from other high schools, but that would demoralize the student body at Etzel Ford. And Coach Baydoun has the love and commitment for the student body because he would never think of recruiting basketball players from other high schools. For to do so would demean, denigrate, and dilute the importance of the student body at Etzel Ford High School. If we are to judge high school basketball coaches on the basis of having a winning team, then why don't we also judge all the high school counselors, teachers, principals, etc., because not all of their students receive a 2.0 GPA academically, as a standard for winning academically is for all students to achieve at least a 3.0 GPA academically. Restore Ibrahim Baydoun as a coach and applaud him for the job he's already accomplished in developing athletes to embrace the importance of balancing the athletic body with the academic mind. Thank you.
Next, Jackson Wagner, a community member, would like to come to speak to the board about the sex ed policy.
So in November, I spoke about Juno Dawson's This Book is Gay and the importance of sex education as is relevant to LGBT youth who might not otherwise receive it. I spoke about how the lackluster sexual education I got in Catholic schools and how I was failed by MSU's sexual assault and relationship violence program. This board's responsibility is to the safety of students first and foremost. And when abuse happens, it's often the schools that hear about it from students and take the first steps to ensure the safety of those students. That's not going to happen in schools that equate sex outside of marriage to a moral stain on both parties, regardless of consent. That's what students learn from these programs, and that's what I had to spend time on learning, and it was a really difficult process. I'm not just a survivor of sexual assault when I was 18. I'm a survivor of horrific physical, verbal, and emotional abuse by my own father over the course of many years, and I have been diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder because of this. Did my father have the parental right to do that? That physical abuse only stopped when I was 16, and I was strong enough to defend myself and did so. All the adults in my life failed to keep me safe. Just like this board and the Sex Ed Committee are failing to keep LGBT students safe from homophobic book bans and abstinence-only sex ed. This board was ignorant of racist bullying too, until a parent and teacher spoke about it at a meeting earlier this year. It's long past time this board actually put students first for once. And, you know, I'm hoping that when our state legislature puts adolescent well-being ahead of parental prejudice by banning conversion therapy, that we don't get an hour-long rant by a member of the school board complaining about it.
The next blue cards that I have are all, they don't wish to speak.
Please.
So one of them is an employee, Megan Tiff. She would like to say, I tell my students daily, I believe your words when your actions change. Educators need action by the district to prove we're valued. I also tell my students nothing is worth more than your peace. This job is not more valuable than my family's financial stability. Financial compensation must be improved in order for me to continue serving the district and students I love. Next, another employee, Jillian Woods, would like to say, I have been a teacher in DPS for my entire career. I've worked hard and been loyal to this district through the good years and tough ones. I went into teaching because I wanted to make a difference in the lives of my students. I did not go into teaching to get rich, but I should be able to support my family like any other professional. Next, Andrew Petrucia. I have watched so many quality colleagues leave this district since I started in 2017. They've left for better pay, better hours, respect for their profession, fewer meetings outside of school hours. We do what is best for our students, but we need peace of mind for ourselves and families. Please keep this in mind as Dearborn teachers negotiate for a contract that respects us as professionals and prioritize students. And an employee, let us teach, value our time. I'm sorry, I can't read that. Equitable compensation compared to other professions. And then I have a few more. Ashrahan Masra. I'm a fourth grade teacher in the district. I have 14 years of being here at DPS. I have an ESL endorsement that was required for me to take when I signed my contract with DPS. Since I've started the district, I've noticed that we have some of the hardest working teachers in our community. Teachers that work long hours even after contractual hour time. Teachers that come in before school starts every fall to turn in government issued bare wall 4x4 into welcoming mini homes. Teachers that have spent thousands of dollars on flexible seating, carpets, classroom activities. Teachers that are collaborative and work eagerly with their students to close learning gaps. Teachers that deserve respect in all aspects of the word.
I can't see what he's saying.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll slow
Yeah.
down for the interpretation.
This
Thank you.
district shows them little, if any. We're fighting for our teachers and students, and our working conditions are their learning conditions. And he continues on, or they continue on. Apologies. Anonymous teacher in the district. I love living in Dearborn and working as a teacher for Dearborn Public Schools. I love how in our school district we accept all students regardless of income level, mental ability, ethnicity, country of origin, and religion. At the middle school I work at, we even celebrate each of these groups in our advisory classes, and we welcome diversity. The only group which we do not celebrate or acknowledge is the LGBTQ plus group, even though we have gay students and gay teachers in our district. As we continue to ignore this group, we send the message that LGBTQ plus students and teachers are not important. We increase bullying and harassment, and we will lose staff and students to our more progressive districts. This issue is not about vulgar books, it's about building empathy, equality, and basic human rights for all. I worry that about students who may look at themselves in a negative light because of our lack of acceptance and who may cause self-harm. And the last one is from a parent, from Michelle Rawson from Dearborn. She has many accolades. I will try to read through as many as I can. Thank you for teaching how to add and subtract in math. You have also helped me when I had a hard time reading. You're the best teacher. Thank you for teaching me math and reading. You allowed me to become better. I'm now at a level 30 in reading. You're the best teacher ever. Thank you for teaching me my pluses. If it wasn't for you, I would not have been here. Thank you so much. You're the best. Thank you for teaching me math. I am better. This has made my life so much easier, and now I'm a reading level 30. Thank you for being one of the best teachers. You would always make me laugh. Thank you for teaching us how to write. My reading level is 40 now. Thank you for teaching me, and I love you. You're the best. Thank you for teaching me my multiplications. If it wasn't for you, I would not be in 3rd grade. You're the best 2nd grade teacher, and I love you how much you make me laugh. You're the funniest teacher. I love coming to school because my teacher teaches me math, reading, spelling, and writing. And I believe that is all of them.